Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm very excited to be sharing with you something slightly different. I figured I would try out a different format of video. I know that a lot of you ask me questions on when I go shopping, how do I actually make the decision whether to buy something or not to buy something. I thought, okay, then I could do a come shopping with me. But then I was like, I don't want the video to just be, I bought this, I didn't buy this. I thought, why not take you shopping with me and actually take you into my brain as much as I can. So this video is actually going to be split into two halves. One half of it, I'm going to take you shopping with me into, first of all, the high street. I chose Massimo Dutti, COS and Arket. And then afterwards, we're going to head to Harrods, where you have brands like Camilla and Marc, Rohe, Magda Buttram. And that part of the video, which is going to be the first half of the video, is going to have a voiceover, basically like as though you're my brain, so that you can kind of see how I go about it. And then after that, I'll bring you guys back here and we'll chat through some of the things that I think are non-negotiables for me. These are the things that have to be present, the things that I have to do, the rules that I wouldn't call them rules. And I feel like in this video, it might come across as though I have this big checklist in my head of things that I need to do. But in reality, it's so subconscious at this point. But I figured, let me try and extract that from my brain and share that with you, because I know that it can be valuable to actually see the process. Another thing that I would love to ask before we get started into the video is, I'm actually going to be finally filming a get to know me, because I actually posted a song on my Instagram stories and it was a Portuguese song, and that I didn't realize how many people didn't know that I was Portuguese, and that became a whole thing. And then so many people were like, you really do need to do a get to know me. So you can also leave down below questions that you might have, questions that you've always wanted to know, and I will answer it, well, obviously as much as I can, in the get to know me video, which I'm going to be filming, I believe, next week or the week after. Obviously there's some things that I might not share because they're uber personal, but I will share as much as possible, because I don't want this to be a channel where you're watching someone that you don't know very well. But with that being said, I do just want to get straight on into this video. Starting off at Massimo Dutti, I tried on a piece that I almost always skip every season, and I know that the high street bring out different variations of this all the time. It's sort of your typical tweed cardigan. In particular here, I didn't love the buttons, though that's something that you can change outside of store. I find that the gunmetal often gives the impression of something being more mass produced, and although we're not expecting top craftsmanship from the high street necessarily, it's always nice to look for details that can easily elevate those pieces without you having to spend more but still looking premium. At the end of the day, it's down to personal preference. I don't like it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, and actually higher end brands still sparingly use this when they want to modernize something. It's just not something that I would go for, and though you can change the buttons so it's not the be all end all, I didn't love the fit. And so although I don't hate this, I think I would rather choose to save to invest in maybe a vintage Chanel version. This next blouse I absolutely love. It actually really reminds me of the top half of my Victoria Beckham gown. I love the versatility of it, especially because of this tie detail that you can obviously wear also untied, and the sort of like soft crinkles that this top has are perfectly done in my opinion. I feel like I see so many nowadays that are quite overdone, and it tends to look like a piece needs a steam. So it's about finding the perfect balance. I think in this case it just adds a really cool detail instead. My favourite pieces from Massimo Dutti have to be their cashmere and wool pieces, like jackets and sweaters. I find it's what I naturally gravitate towards no matter where I go. This jacket in particular I absolutely loved, in this grey toned brown colour. I love the piping on the pockets, very well done. And these are real pockets, you just need to flip it around, but sometimes they are sewn together. Actually, a lot of times they are. But I did like the hues of light brown on the buttons. I think it naturally elevates it a lot more. And I loved this small shawl collar on this cream jacket with one button at the very top, which I really loved. A detail that I always pay close attention to is the positioning of the drop shoulders on my sweaters. Lower down will give me more of a casual, cool look, whereas if I go higher up, it will be obviously much smarter. I completely fell in love with this baby blue cashmere sweater, which is 100% cashmere. You can see from the smile on my face just how much I loved it, which I think is also something that's very important. You want to make sure that you feel good in the pieces that you try on. I love this colour. I actually recently picked up some pieces similar to this colour from Lisa Yang, and I wear them all the time, so I know I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it. In particular also because it goes with the outfit that I'm wearing on this day and other items that I already know that I have in my closet. And because of how this is actually made, especially underneath the underarm, it doesn't go all the way to the underarm, which gives it more of a relaxed fit. I think this is perfect as a light layering piece on the boat, or later on in the season if you want to layer it. This v-neck sweater is actually a wool linen blend, which lends to it being a little bit more textured and less sort of cashmere soft. I think it also has a little bit more of a laid back feel to it, and I think obviously a neutral colour like this fits very well into my closet. I'm not sure if I absolutely need it, so not one that I picked up, but I did like how it looked, and I do think that Massimo Dutti makes some really great basic sweaters that you can add to your closet. Another thing I would highly recommend is to try and go shopping when you're wearing accessories or pieces that you wear often. For example, here I brought in with me my Bali Deco Daily, my Almada label pants that I wear often, and this way you can already get an idea of how these pieces would pair with things that you already own without having to buy it, take it home and then try. I always look out for pieces like this. This is a U-shape round neck cashmere dark chocolate brown top that I completely fell in love with, and I know it would be extremely versatile with things I already have. Now, every piece doesn't have to completely be a winner, but it always teaches you something as well. For example, here with this cashmere cardigan, I realised it was far too long on me, so I would have to size down to an extra small, but I was able to see that this colour works really well with my skin tone and my bag and everything that I typically wear. So although I wouldn't go exactly for this piece, it already gives me an idea of what I should look for. You can see here more of that natural replication of texture with the buttons. Now this piece gave me all of the row feels and I did like it. I just feel like I'm much more of a wool jacket person. It did have these sort of adjustable elastics on the side so you can make it tighter or looser. I think the high street is great if you want to try things that you're not sure how much wear you're going to get out. Instead of spending thousands at the row, you can get this, and if you don't wear it too much, it's not too painful because you didn't spend so much, though it's still important to consider if it goes with your style. I wasn't too sure about this cuff detailing around the wrist. I oftentimes feel like I prefer something a lot straighter. I feel the same way about lots of trousers and the hem as well, but I could understand why they did it for this style of sort of windbreaker jacket. I just, to be honest, wasn't also a fan completely of the composition of this, so I just decided it wasn't for me. Unfortunately, I really wanted to like this one. When I spotted it on the rail, I thought it's going to be perfect. I think the main problem with it is actually the colour, because you can see here that I'm pointing out the shawl collar, which I think is a detail that I love on my jackets, and I just think it's the colour. I don't think it matches with my skin tone very well. I think it's slightly too cool toned, whereas my skin tone is slightly more on the warm neutral side, and so I just didn't feel like it actually complemented me. And I think that's something that's very important when you're buying things, is don't just buy things because someone else wore it. Make sure it actually complements your features. Another detail that I didn't quite love was the overlapping of the fabric here. I think this is a big telltale that something is not tailor-made to you. Again, of course, this is the high street. Things aren't going to be tailor-made, but as much as possible, look for things that fit you very well. On the other hand, this is a colour that I'm much more likely to get, sort of this burgundy colour, or the dark chocolate brown right in front of it is something that complements my skin tone a little bit better. And of course, I couldn't leave without trying on some of the bags. I fell in love with both of them. This is a lighter coloured suede, and it just worked really well, even with the outfit that I was wearing. And then I tried on this sort of burgundy interchato style dumpling shaped bag, and it has a magnetic closure. I just thought this colour would also work perfect for autumn winter. I completely fell in love with these loafers in this dark chocolate brown croc effect. One thing to note about them is that they are quite a thin piece of leather, so they are quite collapsible, which you'll see afterwards. And I did try them on in one size below my own, which is 38 instead of a 39, which fit me perfectly. I think because it's that thin piece of leather, it does stretch, and I just felt like the 39 looked a little bit large, so I didn't bother trying them on. See here what I was talking about, they are this thin piece of leather, so they are quite collapsible. So if you're into that, then you will really love these. I don't particularly mind because I already have other loafers which are quite thick, so this would be a great addition because of that croc sort of detail. I then stopped by COS and I found these brushed cashmere cardigans, which I not only love but really reminded me of my brushed cashmere pieces from Almaz label that I featured on my channel before, except for a fraction of the price. In particular, this taupe colour I felt like is something I don't already have, whereas for example the dark chocolate brown one I already sort of have from Almaz label, so I don't need to buy a duplicate of it. So soft, and again my skin can tend to be quite sensitive sometimes, so picking up natural fibres, cashmere, wool, depends what type of wool, but especially merino wool can be really nice on my skin. And then I tried on this cape. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. The colour is spot on and obviously matches with my usual style, but I feel like I'm more into scarf capes where it doesn't go around. I felt like this just looked a little bit geometric, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's on my sort of think list, but it's just one that I wanted to try, and it did also come in a dark chocolate brown. And then I love picking up basics from COS like this. The only thing I would do differently here is probably size up to a size small because it was just a little bit too snug around the arms, but I think this looks epic. I mean, I'm a lover of all things monochrome outfits, and especially a monochrome cream outfit I think is one of the easiest ways to look put together. And then of course with the colder months coming along, I tried on this scarf jacket, which I feel like every season is brought out at the high street. It just worked so well, and I think this is definitely one for me to buy. And then lastly, I found the bag, which is new. Many of you will know I love, for example, a Kelly cut from Hermes, and this is quite reminiscent of it, though it doesn't have any hardware. So if you're looking for something quite plain and minimal, then COS has this version with magnetic closure. And then I stopped by Arket, which actually didn't have much in store. I saw this blanket, which I really did love, but I'm not here for homeware things. I tried on this barn style jacket from Arket, but I didn't love it, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like also my style is not very countryside-esque, and I think also the size of this was just far too oversized and boxy for me, so it's one that I just put straight down and didn't take. As much as I didn't like the hardware on these trousers, I loved the colour, and you can see how well it pairs with my dark chocolate brown Bally Deco Daily. I believe this was from Sport Max, which is definitely a brand with cool pieces. And then a brand that I absolutely love called Lanificio Colombo, which is an Italian brand with such impeccable pieces. I'm very excited to try more things from the brand. The prices are definitely quite high up there, but you have to feel these for yourself. And one of my favourite things about the international designer floor is that you can find brands like Camilla and Marc. I spotted this suit on the mannequin and I loved how they styled it. Also gives me so much inspiration sometimes just looking around. Loved this belt as well, really have my eyes on it. I love that chunky gold, but it's not too gold, if that makes sense. Wasn't too sure about this shirt, though I did just see it on the mannequin. I don't think it's versatile enough for me to get it, but the blazer was quite nice. Camilla and Marc suiting is what they specialise in. And then I tried on this coat, which I fell completely in love with, and this is basically on my buy list now. It's a wool coat but in a blazer style, and what I like about this is that it doesn't compete with, say for example, my Rohe cream blazer, because this one is more of a fluffy wool, so I can still wear them on different occasions. My Rohe blazer is a lot more tailored and something that I would wear 100% with a cream suit, whereas this is not something that I would choose to wear with a smart suit, but is perfect for winter. And then I tried on this Magda Butrym ivory dress, which I have no words for. It's also now on the buy list because it's just one of those incredible pieces that I love having as a collector. And then I love the pyjamas and loungewear section at Harrods. Arch 4 is a brand that I really love as well. I think it's also gorgeous pieces for lounging around in, but also traveling in. I've spoken about the cuffing at the bottom of the hem. I don't love it when it's super cuffed, but this one was a really nice amount. This I found from Tory Burch, which I thought was gorgeous beach cover up, and then I realised it also worked really well with my Bayer pants from Almada label that I was wearing, so you can wear it out as well. And then going back to Lanificio Colombo, which I absolutely love. The detailing, the materials, you really can feel how fine the materials that they use are, and I am honestly so excited to try more pieces from the brand. I spotted this sort of cable knit turtleneck in cream, and it's just, I mean, even with what I'm wearing today, so good. At this point it had been hours and Harrods was also almost closing by this point. I tried on this piece from Nour Hammour, which is a brand that I absolutely love for leather pieces, coats, jackets. One of my favourite brands, but I don't think this colour worked really well with my skin tone. The first thing that I find very important when it comes to shopping more intentionally is to start with your wardrobe or your closet, as opposed to starting in stores. I feel like this is something that I've been doing for so long now that it wasn't really the first thing that came to mind. And then I realized that it wouldn't be the case for everyone. Maybe not everybody is doing this. Again, with this video, take what serves, leave what doesn't. There's going to be things in this video which you might already be doing, or quite frankly, you might not want to do. And that's absolutely fine. This video isn't me kind of telling you what to do or rules, because these aren't rules, these are just things that I do that I feel like maybe if you haven't heard before, or maybe if you feel like you want to try something new, you want to really be more intentional with the pieces in your closet, then maybe these tips could help. I think starting in stores is such an easy way to buy things that you don't actually need. I personally always go through my closet beforehand and I ask myself a few questions like, what do I actually feel like I need? What's missing? What do I already have? It'll avoid you buying things that are just duplicates of what you already have, which is honestly so tempting, because if you're just going based off of what you enjoy and what you like, you're very likely to buy the same thing. I know I, for example, was doing this. If you've been watching me for quite some time, you'll also know that I was doing the Worth the Hype series. I think it was now like 2 years ago. And I used to go into every single high street store and essentially get one piece from each category. So I would get a blazer, a shirt, jeans. These videos are still on my page in case you want to go back and watch them. I know I have one for COS, Arket, Massimo Dutti, Reese. There might be a few others. I realized that with those videos, I kept on picking up the same pieces and it was really tempting for me to keep them, because I would be like, well, this blazer's slightly different in this way. But doing that can be so harmful and detrimental to your style. Even if you spend 20 minutes before you leave the house to go shopping. So let's say you're going out, you know you're going to go shopping. Just spend 20 minutes going through your closet and actually looking at, what do I need? What do I not need? Because then you can kind of make a I'm not going to buy this sort of list. Another thing I would also say is just have a look at what you've been, in a sense, yearning for. For example, it would be like weeks and weeks that oh my goodness, if I had brown ballet flats here, it would make the world of a difference. And if I've kind of repeated that cycle of thinking, I'm kind of like, okay, when I go out, I'm probably going to go and look for brown ballet flats. Have a listen to what you're thinking and the things that you feel like are really missing. For example, if it's spring and you feel like you don't have loafers, and you keep on thinking, oh, loafers would change the whole game and they would complement everything that I already have in my closet and elevate them and allow me to wear more of the things that I already have, that's a good sign to go ahead and get it. I also think the only time I would recommend, maybe, again, I still wouldn't recommend starting in stores, but the only time I'd recommend it is if you have a very well trusted and good relationship with a sales associate who actually cares about you. For example, when I go into Hermes, I can get away with doing a little bit less research. I mean, one, I'm kind of familiar with the quality anyways because I've been shopping there for a while, but also I'm very lucky because I've had my sales associate, which I hate calling her my sales associate because she really is more like family. She's known me since I was about 18 when I first started going there. It's one of the only times that I would actually go in and just get something and that I can start in store. But that's because she's very honest. For example, I've gone in before and said, ooh, I've seen Chypre sandals everywhere. Do you think I should get them? And she was so honest and she was so right. If you have that relationship, and of course that takes a long time, but if you can start cultivating relationships like that, of course, yes, it's going to take years to develop it, but in the long run, you're going to end up having a group of trusted individuals in your sort of shopping circle, or, you know, the people who are always going to be there when you are shopping, and that can help you to not buy lots of things that you really don't need. I think especially at a place like Hermes, where so many people can fall into the trap of doing the whole like game, buying lots of stuff they don't really like, because I then think, again, you still end up with that closet or home filled with things that you don't really want, and it does start to water down your personal style. The next important thing that I always do is to put items on a watch list. I think I spoke about this before in one of my recent videos, but especially if you're shopping online, I always put things onto a watch list. So that means if I've just found something for the very first time, I've never seen it, I've never come across it before, or maybe it's a new brand to me and I've never tried anything before, I give myself, I mean, I feel like now it's less time. For me, it could be anywhere between 2 weeks onwards, but I think if you're just doing it for the first time, I would recommend maybe sort of 25 days, 30 days. Just give yourself time, especially if a piece is more or less a trend piece that's going around doing its rounds online. There are so many pieces that I once thought I wanted, and I'm so glad that I put it on a watch list, because 30 days later, 2 months later, I realized it's nice, but I don't need it. There is that emotional side of things where when you first see an item, you think you need it, you think it's going to change your world. Many times you need to put it to the side, and if you are still thinking about it after those 30 days, if every time you go into your closet, you're imagining it with things that you already have, you're thinking, oh my goodness, if only I had that piece that I really want to get, then yeah, you can get it, or you can at least move it into the more higher priority. It depends how you go about shopping. You might be someone who goes straight from it's on a watch list and then I buy straight away, or it might be that you have it on a watch list and then you make the decision, okay, I'm officially going to start saving up for it. However you're doing it, it's really important to have that first step be more or less a watch list. The next thing that I would recommend right after the watch list actually is you can do any amount of outfits. You can do 3 outfit rule, 10 outfit rule. I think it's also case by case depending on the price of the actual item. Let's say I'm shopping at the Row. Let's say there's an item there that's £1,000. You might be more inclined to say, I need to be able to wear that piece at least 10 times for it to make sense for me to buy it. Whereas if you go into, say, Massimo Dutti and there's a cashmere sweater for, say, £85, you might say to yourself, I still want to wear it often, but even if I only get it with 3 outfits that I already have in my closet, that's good enough. So it really is, it depends also on the pricing of the item, the cost per wear, things like that. There might just be sometimes a time and place for everything, and I think you might want a statement dress or gown. I think gowns are a perfect example of this. I, for example, love collecting gowns. However, I also like to ensure that it matches my lifestyle. Every year we have events, annual dinners, things like that, where I actually get to wear these gowns, and I'm quite extra at times. I'm okay with doing, say, a dinner with friends and wearing a gown, and they're okay with it. So I do find the time to wear these things, but many times, for sure, there are gowns that I haven't worn in a little while, but there's still pieces that I absolutely love. They just do something. So it's all a balance. Like I said, take what serves, leave what doesn't. This isn't a rule by rule. I now need to, before I go shopping, have this long checklist. You have to trust your intuition, and you need to understand your own personal style. Spending time in your own closet, you really have to sit and be honest with yourself and sit in your closet and say, am I happy with what I have? And it's completely fine if you're not. It's also such a privilege to be able to have an entire closet with everything that you love. You might just have a pair of jeans that you've had for years. There's actually nothing wrong with that. There's no problem with that. It's just if you are trying to be more intentional about every single piece in your closet as much as you can, it's important to be honest with yourself. And if you're in a point of your life where you are able to change your closet and really have it reflect your personal style, then yes, honesty comes with it. You need to sit and actually say, I'm not happy with this because I never wear this stuff, or I'm not happy with this because none of this fits me properly, because I got the wrong size, or because I followed a trend here and I went super oversized with everything and now I don't love it as much, or I bought everything too fitted and it doesn't actually look great on me. You have to be honest with yourself in that side of things. And then going off of the fit of everything, I think that's also another thing to think about, which is the fit and feel. After watching the Come Shopping With Me portion, you probably realize that this is something that I take quite seriously. If something doesn't fit me well, or you would have seen that wool blend long coat that I tried on, and when I was moving my arms, the fabric was moving with me, that's not something that I like. I like something that looks like it's made to fit me. And of course, when you're shopping high street, these things are not made to order. They are more or less mass made. So they are made to fit the majority of people. You can, of course, take these things to the tailors if you want, but I just think there are some things that for me, I don't bother going near, including if there's fabric overlapping or if the shape is just really off on my proportions. Another thing to consider is the fact that if something feels, I don't want to use the word cheap, but if something feels cheaply made for you personally on your skin, on your body, most likely it also will look cheap. I think it's also to do with how you present yourself. Say I'm wearing an entire cashmere outfit, it's more so the fact that it feels good on my skin, I feel happier about that, and so I present myself better. That I would say is more important than just, oh well, it's cashmere. So yeah, there's a lot to it. I hope this video has helped. I know that the second half has been a little bit more blabbering than usual, and I don't know if it's been as structured. I will try with editing to make it as structured as possible, but I hope that the structure and the layout of taking you shopping with me has helped in some way and added value one way or another. But with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I hope to see you very, very soon in my next one.